Hey everybody, it's Tatiana with Back to Facts. So what I'm about to tell you is absolutely incredible on so many levels. So Noam Chomsky is a very famous and revered leftist. He's 94 years old, but that hasn't stopped him from writing books, even recently. So I saw something on the TV. It caught my eye and my ear, and it was Noam Chomsky saying something like Donald Trump is the only statesman. He called him a statesman. Who has suggested a diplomatic solution to the war in Ukraine. Now, he quickly added, he's not my favorite person. In fact, I think he's the most dangerous man in the world. And he said that many times before, solely because of climate change and his relentless quest to burn fossil fuels. But let's tell it like it is. And I'm thinking, what planet are we on? Like, this is bizarre. This is like the Eagles' Hell Freezes Over tour. They said they would not get back together until hell freezes over. Well, guess what? Hell froze over, and Noam Chomsky, who has been eviscerating and condemning Donald Trump for years now, not only says that Trump is providing the solution, but that he is the only one of that visibility, that level of visibility to do so. And then I checked out the YouTube channel that he was on. It's called EduKitchen, and I detected a Dutch accent. So it turns out EduKitchen has almost 2,000 subscribers on YouTube, which, you know, if you're looking at top YouTube influencers, that's not that many, although it's good. It's not too shabby. I don't know the person who runs it, but I noticed that his most recent video is an interview with Matthias Desmet, who was the sociologist brought up by Dr. Robert Malone in his now incredibly famous podcast with Joe Rogan. And Dr. Robert Malone, of course, brought up Matthias Desmet in the context of Matthias having come up with the term mass formation psychosis. And then I looked up Matthias Desmet, and even on Wikipedia, it says that what Matthias Desmet did, he's a very respected statistician. And that speaks to me because I love statistics. Anyway, basically, the Wikipedia entry says that Desmet noticed that in spite of all the statistics that were showing the real story, most people believed the exact opposite about the pandemic. And then he came up with his mass formation psychosis idea because of that, which I never realized. I missed that. I thought he was just some sociologist that came up with this idea years ago. In any case, the interviewer was extremely neutral, you know, making an effort to be very neutral. And yet, when I went to check him out, I saw that he had interviewed the guy who came up with the term mass formation psychosis, made famous by Joe Rogan and Dr. Robert Malone. So enjoy this clip. Let me know what you think in the comments, and please share, because I actually thought this didn't happen because I couldn't find it for a while. So I even issued a correction on Facebook saying, it could have happened, but so far I don't think so, because this guy is like really, really hates Trump. Like he's probably got the worst case of TDS in the history of mankind. All right, friends, I'll see you soon.
Where are we now? I was wondering, today I read on the White House website that Joe Biden added another $800 million to the Ukrainian aid, or adding it up to $2 billion since his administration started. I was wondering, what kind of narrative do you tell the Americans in order to support this kind of spendings?
What Biden's policies on Ukraine?
Yeah, how do you sell? What do you tell your own people?
Well, there is fortunately one statesman in the United States and Europe who has laid out, a person of a high political figure who has made a very sensible statement about how you can solve the crisis, namely by facilitating negotiations instead of undermining them, and moving towards establishing some kind of accommodation in Europe, maybe along in which there are no military alliances, but just mutual accommodation. He didn't say it, but it's something like what George H.W. Bush, the first Bush, not the second, proposed in the early 90s after the collapse of the Soviet Union, proposed what they called a partnership for peace, which would be open for Europeans generally, Eurasians as well. It wouldn't eliminate NATO, but he would live up to the promise that NATO would not expand to the east, firm promise to Gorbachev, keep to that, allow NATO there, but kind of de-emphasize it so other countries could join, including Russia for that matter, join the Partnership for Peace. Tajikistan joined, for example, not NATO, and move towards a world, a Europe, Eurasia with no military alliances. Actually, de Gaulle had similar vision. Emmanuel Macron, in his initiatives trying to contact Putin, suggested something similar. So going back to the one Western statesman, he didn't mention all of this, but he suggested something similar. Move towards negotiations and diplomacy instead of escalating the war. Try to see if he can bring about an accommodation, which would be roughly along these lines. His name is Donald J. Trump, the one statesman I know of in the West. Not my favorite person, incidentally. I think he's the most dangerous person maybe in history. But let's tell the truth. He's the one person who said it, and it's the right way out. Others have said it too, but not in high positions.